Hello! Currently no one. And welcome to my little office nook. Now I'll sit around being awkward until somebody turns up. Of course, you could be watching this on the catch-up and then this bit is ridiculous. But still, I will wait. But no one is coming. And you see, when I look over there, it's because I'm looking at, there's two people now, I can start. Thank you for coming! Right, well, first of all, I would just like to draw your attention to my rather wonderful earrings, which are little fish in bags. Obviously not real fish. No fish were harmed. Do not put goldfish in bags. Anyway, I've got a few things I want to talk to you about this week. And the first one is it's slightly promo, slightly funny. Well, more funny than promo. Anyway, I'm putting on a pro night in April in Faversham. Ta-da! Oh, it's a lovely poster. And it's in a hotel called Judd's Folly. So we've called it amusingly Judd's Follies. Oh. Anyway, it's great. It's a professional night. It's a pro night because it's professional comedians, which means they're all going to get paid and everything. No exposure for them. I was on the bill as well, but I've decided that perhaps Faversham would maybe like to see someone else for a change. So I have taken myself off and booked someone else on. So I'll probably just have to swan about like an impresario. Of course, now I've said that, I will probably start looking at swan costumes, which is not going to give the right effect at all. Anyway, so when I went to see the venue, the lovely Judd's Folly Hotel, something happened there that amused me. We're in the function room where the comedy is going to take place. And I said, "This is lovely," says I. And we're knocking it down next week, says the venue owner. I'm like, okay. And then I felt slightly awkward. And I said, these chairs are nice. Wasn't that the wrong chair? The producers, I must admit, I should have mentioned there are two lots of chairs. That's not the chair. Anyway, I said, these chairs are nice. And because I'd kind of run out of small talk by then, and my scripts had, run dry. And then he named the chairs. Not as in you're sitting on Dave. Dave should be so lucky. But as in that is the Lauren range of chairs. Do I look like a chair expert? Maybe broom handles or barge poles, but not chairs. I have very, very little knowledge of function room chairs. I mean, is this required intel for impresarios? And if so, do I need to gen up? Because as far as I can tell, a chair's a chair. I mean, has anyone got a bluffer's guide to function room chairs that I could borrow? So I'm slightly worried now. I mean, I suppose what was happening there was that, there's several things. Either he was also feeling awkward and we were really failing at small talk, or chairs are his special interest. And he was doing what I do when someone stumbles upon my special interests. One of my special interests, which isn't hard to do as there are many. They're varied and they include nearly all animals in the animal kingdom. I've got a fact for every situation. But anyway, this incident reminded me of something similar that happened many years ago. We, the whole family, this is when I was a child, we went next door for Christmas drinks with our new and somewhat pretentious next door neighbours. They'd moved into the house, which had a spiral staircase and a pool. So they were a bit of a step up from us. Fair enough. Although we did have koi carp in a raised pond. Although we got them free from my dad's boss. Anyway, we go round. Oh yes, let me tell you a bit about them first. They were a large family, not in numbers. And my dad used to call them the Waleses. And it was a while before I realised that this was not as in Prince of Wales or the country Wales, but as in large sea mammal. Quite often things like this go completely over my head. How I ever get jokes, I do not know. And when their grown-up twin daughters used to come back for the holidays, the drains would always block. And my dad would have to get the drain rods out, because the manhole was on our drive. So, yeah. Anyway, so we arrived next door, and bing bong, and my mum remarked upon a nearby chair. This is the time for the chair. it was a bit like this. And she was saying how nice it was. Now, as you can see, it was not really, but it was rather sturdy, as it needed to be. And Mrs. Wales said, "Oh, do you mean the bergère?" And my mum went, "Yeah, I guess." And I think my dad rather took umbrage to this sort of attitude of the Mrs. Wales. And as is evidenced by his next interaction, Mr. Wales then offered my mum an amaretto. My mum looked a bit panicked and mouthed to my dad, "What's an amaretto?" And my dad said, in a very loud, very strong London accent, "It's a sticky, innit?" And that was one of my favourite Christmas memories. So, yeah, cheers. So that's what I wanted to say about that. And the next thing I want to talk about is I saw a thing today. It was called Big and Free. I think that's what it was called. Yes, look at that. Now, what would you imagine what product would that be on? I mean, it sounds a bit like some kind of dodgy magazine you might get on the top rack. But no, it was in fact on a carton of eggs. Carton of eggs. Anyway, it amused me and they weren't very big actually, and we had to pay for them. So it's false advertising anyway. Yeah. What else was I going to say? Oh, this is a bit I'm going to talk about now that I hadn't said, so there's no visuals. Just pretend there's something interesting here. Well, there is, look. Sloths. I just, before I switched on, I noticed I had an email from LinkedIn that said, "Ribs, you're getting noticed." And I don't know if you've ever received one of these emails. It's like they are trying to lure you in, like you're popular. But you're not. Because when you go and have a look, well, they only let you look at 3 or 4 of them, unless you stump up the cash to be a premium member. But when those 3 or 4, they're always the same people for me. They're always some ex-boyfriends from the past who for some reason are stalking me on LinkedIn. I mean, I don't know why they're not stalking me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, where I practically share my entire life. But no, they go for LinkedIn, where according to LinkedIn, I'm probably still working for a big corporate. Yeah. So anyway, just thought I'd share that. And what else was I going to say? Oh yes, I have. I'm recovering from COVID, although I still have a bit of I sound like I've got a cold, and I've got this sort of annoying cough. It's exactly like that. Quite like pathetic. I am doing some gigs, and this is my next gig. It's ages away. It's a week on Sunday. Ta-da! In the Alex, which is the cool, trendy name for the Alexander Centre in Faversham. Yes, so do come along. And oh yes, and then the last thing is, please like and subscribe. Look, I made a new graphic because I didn't like the old one. Although that C is weird in that font, isn't it? Like, what's that about? It's like a horseshoe magnet in the middle for no reason. None of the other letters are like that. Yeah, I'm going to have to redo that for next week. That's a bad font. We can't have bad fonts. That's it. And now a random dog. Isn't she cute? Yes. That's it. Thank you for watching. I don't know why nobody said anything at all, but that's fine. Feeling shy, don't worry. You can talk next time. And if you're watching this on catch up, is that what we call it? Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, if you're watching on catch up, you can comment, because I will spend all evening looking at this broadcast to see if anyone liked it or watched it later, like a little sad person. So you could make a little sad person happy by commenting. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.